What it do, homies? It's your boy Dave, and I'm back today. We out here with a Patreon request. This time we're checking out Sam Ryder, Tiny Riot, and it's a live performance. Now, Sam Ryder sounds like a very familiar name. It's very possible that I've heard music from him before, but otherwise this will be my first time hearing him. So let's go ahead, shut up, and turn it up. Oh, this boy got soul.
There's a feeling, there's a fire, there's a whisper reaching to the choir. Take the leaders and the lies, throw your fears on the funeral pyre. Keep on breathing, don't go under. Keep your ear to the ground, hear the thunder. When the earth quakes and the ground shakes, throw your caution to the wind and the storm breaks. Mother, sister, father, brother, step into the light and start a tiny riot. Stop being so goddamn quiet. Got a spark in your heart so striking. Wash away your pain, turn the pouring rain to a tidal wave and ride it. Got something inside, don't hide it. Like dynamite, ignite it. Wash away your pain, turn the pouring rain to the wave of a tiny ride.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, man. I trust my emotions. I'm telling you, when you hit that chorus and you kind of hear all that grit, right? All that emotion and everything in his voice. He has control over his voice, which is I absolutely love. I always get a little bit nervous whenever I'm hearing artists and they're doing live performances. It's because there's no hiding behind anything, right? Your voice either got to be there or it's not. One thing that I've seen him doing is, of course, he's also kind of practicing, what do you want to call? It's either volume. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say volume control. I would like to say dynamic control, right? We saw that at the beginning when he started yelling and he was like, kind of like what I'm doing to the microphone, you know what I'm saying, coming through. I love that, right? That's kind of equivalent to like throwing in like what you would call LFOs for your producers out there, but stuff that will alter the not LFOs, but stuff that will alter the dynamics. Maybe that's what it is. Automation. He's kind of including that, what that looks like live. We've seen that happen with people who are singers when they kind of go like this with the microphone and everything, right? That's not just for style. That's I mean, it could be for style, but that's like that adds to the characteristic of the singing, right? It's part of the entire composition, and we see him do that. Now, the beautiful thing about that is that when they are doing that, some of that stuff is emotional cues as well, right? So meaning that it could not even been planned. It's like something that you just sing and then you just got to step away from the mic a little bit so you can just let it breathe. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as what he's singing about, context, right? Start a tiny riot. This is something that I like what he's saying, right? A whole lot of us have wonderful talents, right? Stuff that we are really, really good at, but we're too scared to kind of show these type of things or try to break out of that shell because of possible social backlash, right? But one thing you got to remember is that you are your own worst enemy. You know what I mean? So start a tiny riot. Right. And I love that he uses that word tiny riot, right? Meaning that, whatever that you do, it might not have as much of an impact as you think it's going to have, right? But but it will have an impact. And when he says riot, he basically means go the full length, because when people riot, they don't hold back. So go the full length and have that impact no matter how small or how big it is.
Take the music, learn to use it, turn it up till your speakers blow fuses. Learn the rhythm and never lose it. Keep on moving till you know what the truth is. If butterflies can use the wings
falsetto
to turn the wind to hurricanes, you and I can break the chains. It takes a day to start a tiny riot. Stop being so goddamn quiet. Got a spark in your heart so striking. Wash away your pain, turn the pouring rain to a tidal wave and ride it. Got something inside, don't hide it. Like dynamite, ignite it. Wash away your pain, turn the pouring rain to the wave of a tiny ride.
See, I love that little pause that they have, right? When after you get done singing, it's like that feeling that you putting your all into what you're doing. It's kind of similar the feelings that I feel when I'm playing a saxophone, where I'm sitting there and I'll sit there and I'll start jamming and playing on it and everything. And then if I play something I'm like extremely satisfied with it, I gotta take a break. You know what I mean? It's like the emotions that's pouring out of my soul, or in his case, the emotions that's pouring out of his soul while he's singing this, what I'm saying? It like gets to the top. And now he's like, all right, I got to take a breather before I give you guys some more. Because boy, do I have more. His falsetto sounds nice.
In the darkness there's a light. You can find it if you try. If you open up your eyes. Ooh. If you're drifting out to sea, you can just hold on to me. We'll make it to the other side.
So interesting thing about what he said, like make it on to the other side. Try to make this quick. Even though, Will Smith is pretty much being crucified for everything that's going on, I'm not here to discuss whether it's right or wrong. But it was a story that he said about him skydiving. And he was saying how, it was his first time skydiving, and all day, like the week leading up to it, he was scared. He was wondering how it's going to go. He was worried about dying and everything. And when it got to the point to where he gathered enough courage to jump from the plane, he found that other side that he was scared, that he was afraid of, that other side he was being scared of, I cannot find my words, that he was fearing so much was eternal bliss. Once he got to that other side, right, he jumped and then the fear just vanished and he was just in bliss. I keep that story in mind. There's a whole lot of things that I always get nervous of doing, but that feeling can be very, very addicting. And it's definitely one of the better ways you can kind of grow as a person, is learning how to overcome those fears while keeping the thought that it's very possible that once you get past this, right, there's bliss on the other side.
And start a tiny ride. Stop being so goddamn quiet. Got a spark in your heart so striking. Wash away your pain, turn the pouring rain to a tidal wave and ride it. Got something inside, don't hide it. Like dynamite, ignite it. Wash away your pain, turn the pouring rain to the wave of a tiny ride. Oh yeah, good God, ooh. Turn the pouring rain around there. Something inside you.
Wonderful voice.
Don't fight it. Turn the pouring rain to the wave.
Oh, I just now realized his rhythm section
Of a tide.
was behind him. Beautiful. No, absolutely beautiful, man. I just now realized his rhythm section was back there. And another thing, he takes the concept of a tiny riot and he puts it in the music as well, right? So Tiny Riot, you guys, I was talking about the dynamics. You guys see how he starts off like singing like very soft, and as he starts to get to the chorus, he starts increasing like the loudness and it puts the grit in his voice. It makes sense, right? Tiny Riot, that he starts adding that type of grit. When we think about Riot, we think about like when I think about it, I think of like moshing and everybody's like going like at 100%, like all the time, like super rage and whatnot. So it makes sense for him to like yell that tiny riot, right? That ain't something that you want to, let's start a tiny riot. And right? Can't take you seriously. You're talking about a riot, but you're singing underneath your breath like it's a lullaby. All right, y'all. That's the end of this video. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and subscribe. Dave's out.